Aaron Pico was supposed to be the next big thing. Even at 17 years old, he was already being profiled in the news. There were comparisons to prodigies like Tiger Woods and Michael Phelps. He even had signed some sort of deal with Nike. He had experience in amateur boxing, Golden Gloves, and tried to make the Olympics in freestyle wrestling, but didn't make it past the trials. His whole focus was to be the future champion. Pico had stated, "I want to be a UFC champion." I remember back in 2017, the hype surrounding him was immense. He was touted as a prodigy and the future of the sport. Scott Coker had this to say: "We have Aaron Pico, who is the most highly recruited prospect in the history of the sport. He was supposed to be the new breed of fighter. Since he started training young, there are videos of him training at 13 years old. He was fully committed to reaching his goals, even waking up at 4:30 a.m., training, doing schoolwork, and in bed by 8 p.m. I remember Forrest Griffin saying that he was glad to be retired because the next crop of fighters would be on another level, since they would be starting to train all MMA disciplines as kids. In his pro debut, he got to be on the Bellator card in New York, Madison Square Garden, which was seen as a big accomplishment. At just 20 years old, sky was the limit for Pico. Or so people thought. I have been around MMA long enough to know to be skeptical when someone enters a scene. I'm not the type of guy to buy into the hype. I need to see tangible results in the octagon to be able to get on board. In that debut fight, he was giving Zach Freeman as an opponent, an unknown fighter. He was supposed to showcase his skills by running through him. However, that plan was spoiled because Pico got caught with an uppercut, dropped, and then tapped to a guillotine choke in just 24 seconds. To say that was a disastrous outcome would be an understatement. The media and Bellator chalked it up to nerves and that the stage was too big for such a young fighter. He then went on to win his next 4 fights by KO and TKO. But it was over unknown and unranked fighters. Even though Pico was a wrestler, he kind of fell in love with striking, like a lot of wrestlers tend to do. That would be his downfall in his next fight against Henry Corrales, which was a step up in competition since he had a record of 17-3 compared to Pico's 4-1. Joe Rogan, during that fight on his companion podcast, while watching the fight, said Pico had world-class boxing. This is how the fight played out. It was 67 seconds long. Pico dropped Corrales with a vicious uppercut. He tried to follow it up, but he got back up. Then there was some dirty boxing. He stayed in the pocket too long, and Corrales caught Pico on the chin cleanly with a right hand and knocked him out cold. After the fight, Pico was asked if he should take lesser opponents. His response was that if he fought fighters with the same amount of fights as him, he would hurt them, and they would have a hefty hospital bill. Pico would go on to lose his next fight by flying knee TKO against Adam Borix. At that point, the hype surrounding him was pretty much gone. I had completely forgotten about him, and I thought he had retired. But he has kept fighting, mostly unranked fighters. In February 2024, he got a TKO win over Henry Corrales. He avenged that loss, but it doesn't amount to much at this point. He currently holds a record of 13-4. He has become just another failed prospect. At this point, he is 27, and it is safe to say he will never be champion in the UFC or any MMA promotion. He could be considered the biggest bust in MMA history. I even kind of feel sorry for the guy. It is sad since he worked his whole life for a goal. He sacrificed a lot, didn't have a regular, carefree childhood, only to fail miserably. He just didn't have what it takes, the talent or skills to be able to make in the big leagues. He is a cautionary tale for other fighters coming up because they should have a backup plan in case they don't make it. In most cases, they won't. Pico's father was very involved in his career from the start. He was probably trying to live vicariously through him. I think it's wrong for parents to put that kind of pressure on their kids at such a young age. They should be allowed to have normal childhoods. You won't be able to tell if someone has that elite talent until they reach full maturity anyways. So all that training, sacrifices, and wear and tear might be all for nothing. If anything, it should be casual training until they reach late teens, and then if they truly love the sport, then take it seriously at that point. There are many examples of fighters who picked up fighting at an older age. For example, Randy Couture, Chuck Liddell, Deontay Wilder, Ken Norton, Sonny Liston. If the talent is there, that's the most important thing to make it an elite level. Tell me what you guys think in the comments below. Do you remember the hype surrounding Pico? If you like the content, don't forget to like and subscribe. Thanks.